Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. Hello and welcome to another episode of Friendly Friday, a weekly series where we take a look at budget-friendly standard or modern decks, and this week we're taking a look at Mono-Red Goblins in Standard, an aggressive tribal deck featuring Magic's wackiest tribe. So let's take a look at our entire deck list, starting out with the 1-drops where we have 4 copies of Fanatical Firebrand, a 1-mana 1/1 Goblin with haste. We can tap and sacrifice it to deal 1 damage to any target. Then we get to our 2-drops where we have Metallic Mimic, a 2-mana 2/1 Shapeshifter, but as Metallic Mimic enters a battlefield we can choose a creature type, which in our case is going to be Goblin, and Metallic Mimic will be a Goblin in addition to its other types, and then whenever a creature of the chosen type enters a battlefield under our control, it will enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it, so all our future Goblins will be a little bit stronger, and Metallic Mimic synergizes very nicely with all the token generation that's going on in the deck. For example, Goblin Instigator, a 2-mana 1/1 Goblin. When he enters a battlefield we get to make an additional 1/1 red Goblin creature token, so we get 2 creatures for just 1 card, which will both get the +1/+1 counter from Metallic Mimic and synergize with various other cards as well. Next up we have Wily Goblin, double red for a 1/1, that when he enters a battlefield we get to make a treasure token, which we can tap and sacrifice to add 1 mana of any color to our mana pool, so it gives us a way to ramp into our bigger goblins a turn ahead of schedule, while still putting a goblin into play. Then we get to our 3-drops where we have Goblin Warchief, a 2/2 Goblin that makes Goblin spells we cast cost 1 generic mana less to cast, and Goblins we control have haste, which also includes the Goblin Warchief himself. So a nice way to set up our future Goblins by giving them haste and also maybe helping us empty our hand quickly by letting us cast multiple Goblins in the same turn thanks to the cost reduction. Next up we have Goblin Chainwhirler, triple red for a 3/3 creature with first strike. When he enters the battlefield he deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control, so very punishing against opposing 1 toughness creatures. Then we get to our 4-drops where we have Volley Veteran, 4 mana for a 4/2 Goblin that when he enters the battlefield deals damage to an opposing creature equal to the number of Goblins we control, so it can often kill one of the opponent's creatures while still putting a 4/2 body in play, which is quite powerful. Next up we have Goblin Trashmaster, 4 mana for a 3/3 Goblin that gives other Goblins we control +1/+1, so nice anthem effect, and we can also sacrifice a Goblin at any point to destroy target artifact, so it gives us some more game against artifacts. And of course the Trashmaster shines if we have lots of Goblins in play, especially tokens. Getting +1/+1 is very relevant. And speaking of tokens, our last card is Siege Gang Commander, 5 mana for a 2/2 Goblin that when he enters the battlefield we get to make 3 1/1 red Goblin creature tokens, and we can pay 1 and a red and sacrifice a Goblin to deal 2 damage to any target, and we can also sacrifice the Siege Gang Commander itself with this ability. And then our mana base is very straightforward, 24 basic mountains. Then moving on to our sideboard, we have 2 copies of Magma Spray against aggressive creature decks, also exiles the opposing creatures, so shines against recursive threats. We have 3 copies of Chandra's Defeat, which is great against opposing red decks, where they might be bringing in Chandras or Glorybringers after sideboard. We have the full 4 Abrades to have more answers against Godfar's Gift strategies to be able to destroy artifacts, but we can also bring it in if we need more creature removal. Then we also have 2 copies of Fight with Fire against the green decks where they have a lot of big creatures we want to kill, or against Lyra Dawnbringers after sideboard, which can be a problem. Then we have a fun of Goblin Barrage, which can deal 4 damage to a creature and also 4 damage to an opponent if we're willing to sacrifice a Goblin, so it gives us a little bit more reach. And then 2 copies of Vanquisher's Banner, which is for the grindy mid-range and control matchups, where card advantage matters, and we can also give our Goblins +1/+1, and then whenever we cast a Goblin, of course, we get to draw a card. And last but not least, 1 Banefire, which shines against blue-white control decks, where they're casting lots of Settled Wreckages, giving us a lot of extra lands, and then we can make use of those lands to cast a giant Banefire that will be uncounterable. So that's the deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Alright, can't really keep a 1-lander in this spot. This seems keepable. Do we want a Firebrand? It's okay, but I think we'd rather have a land. We do have Wily Goblin that makes a treasure, but we do have 2 3-drops and a 4-drop, so I'll bottom it. Turn 1 Glacial Fortress, so it looks like blue-white control. Nope, instead a Minister of Inquiry, so it looks like the Godfar's Gift deck. Well, we do have the Trashmaster, which can destroy artifacts, so that's nice. Alright, opponent cycles a cast out. And mills some non-Godfar's Gift cards. And a Champion of Wits. It's gonna die to our Chainwhirler here. But they did mill Gift and Angel of Invention, so we might have to change our plan here and play a Trashmaster instead. So we have a bit of insurance against a turn 4 Refurbish from the opponent, so I won't be attacking. And then next turn we can maybe play Chainwhirler. Another Minister instead. And a third one, okay. What's our plan? Can definitely play Chainwhirler. We can use Firebrand to finish off one of those Ministers, and then we could attack with the Wily Goblin, or we can wait on the Chainwhirler, play Warchief first instead, alongside a Firebrand, and then not attack quite yet, and then next turn make an all-out attack. Don't hate that. Four mana for Refurbish, yep. Opponent might not have read Trashmaster carefully, and I think we sacrifice the Wily Goblin here. Alright, picked up another Firebrand, so we could keep Chainwhirler in the event of an Angel to have a little bit more game against it, but I think we want to apply a little bit of pressure here, so we'll play Chainwhirler. Play a Firebrand, and then we can attack with everyone, keeping a Firebrand back, so we have good attacks with everyone. Opponent attempts the triple block, it's not going to work out. So we kill all their Ministers. We still have our Trashmaster in play for future refurbishes or gifts. And we got them pretty low here, so don't hit our spots. And our opponent scoops it up, awesome, so managed to get game 1 from the Godfather's Gift deck thanks to our Trashmaster. We get to bring in 4 Abrades, and could also make a case for Magma Spray since it exiles some of their creatures, but that's about it. What do we take out? Don't actually think our Fanatical Firebrand's great, but I think I like the rest. Do have to be mindful of Fumigates against this deck, and the Volley Veteran can also maybe take out some of their creatures if they're on the fair plan. Alright, so this hand's not very good. 5 lands, Chainwhirler Veteran. There's no artifact removal here, and no amazing curve. I think we can do better. Alright, I mean, I don't think I want to go to 5, but this hand definitely needs some help. Metallic Mimic is interesting. So we could keep the Mimic since it goes well with double Siege Gang, or we could bottom it since we kind of want to find more interaction, or we want to find more lands to be able to cast the Siege Gangs in the first place. But I think we keep it on top just because it's a pretty powerful card with this hand. Turn to Strategic Planning. Hopefully no gift in the graveyard. Alright, just some lands. That's acceptable. I think we'll lead with a Mimic, make our Wily Goblin bigger, since we're not in a hurry to play our Veteran next turn. Baffling End to get rid of our Metallic Mimic is unfortunate, but that's okay. Really want to draw lands now since we have triple Siege Gang in hand. Opponent says go. Alright, Goblin Warchief helps since it makes our commander cheaper. So I don't mind playing the Warchief and attacking. So next turn we could be attacking with Siege Gang and a bunch of hasty goblins. Of course we still have to be mindful of Fumigates. Is this a seal away? Nope. Ooh, Hostile Desert. I missed their opponent could activate this. That's unfortunate. Well, opponent got us pretty good here. Well, had we noticed the Hostile Desert, we definitely would not have attacked here. And they still get to cycle a land. Fair enough. And there's an Angel of Invention, making a bunch of tokens, which is a little weird in the face of Goblin Chainwhirler. I probably would have made it bigger, but they're maybe playing around a Lightning Strike effect. Alright, so we could just Volley Veteran, kill the Angel of Invention, which is okay. Or we can play a Siege Gang commander, which is also reasonable. I think I like playing Siege Gang. And say go. Alright, second Angel of Invention. So now they do have insurance against Chainwhirler, but we can still just shoot down their angels, and they decide to go for the counters this time around, which makes our Volley Veteran pretty tempting. So we'll take 3 from the first angel. So yeah, we can Volley Veteran, kill the second angel, and then use Siege Gang to shoot the first one, which is going to work out quite well. Can't really afford to attack yet, but soon. Strategic planning puts Godfather's Gift in the graveyard, so if they have a refurbish in hand, then we're in trouble. Yep, looks like it. Alright, so now they get their angel back, and it's going to be difficult to come back from here. So I don't think our mistake with the Warchief really costs us the game, since if we can't answer the gift right now, then there's no coming back. So there's no creatures in the opponent's graveyard currently, so I think we just have to play a land, say go, and then we can try to shoot down the Angel of Invention after attackers are declared, and hope they don't get to add anything else to the graveyard. Well, Champion of Wits is probably gonna find some more stuff to put in the graveyard. And yep, a third Angel of Invention, that's reasonable, and another Hostile Desert. We do want to respond to the trigger here by killing the angel, otherwise the other angel will make it big enough to survive all this. But it's not going to matter because the 2 angels are going to be lethal by themselves. Yep. Alright, so this is going to do it for game 2. Let's see if we can draw some Abrades or Trashmasters for game 3, where I don't think we change anything. I still liked the Volley Veterans there, would like to be on the play. Alright, so no Abrade, no Trashmasters, but I don't think we can mulligan a functional hand and hope our opponent doesn't have the combo right away. Alright, turn 1 Minister. We'll play turn 2 Mimic, which sets up our Instigator nicely, as well as Siege Gang. So in game 2 we didn't really need to worry about Fumigate since our opponent played a bunch of Angels, but this game we might have to be a little bit more careful. But I think I still like being aggressive here since we're not necessarily winning a late game. So we can go Wily Goblin into Instigator, and then keep Siege Gang as leftovers. And we could attack with the Mimic now, but that feels bad, trading it for Minister. So I'll just keep it back, and then next turn just attack with a bunch of 2/2s. Char the course, draw to discard 1, and discards Godfather's Gift, so that's already in the graveyard, but our opponent seems to be missing land drops, they're stuck on 2. Alright, so we might be able to play Siege Gang next turn and just win before they assemble the combo. So I'm still not going to attack with the Mimic since it's so good with Siege Gang next turn, but everyone else getting in there. So yeah, we just need to be able to untap with Siege Gang before our opponent refurbishes or casts a Fumigate. Minister mills another gift, and there's a third land. Alright, so next turn we could be staring down a refurbish and another strategic planning, which is likely going to find them the 4th land. Well, on the bright side, there's no Angel of Invention in the graveyard yet, so if they just get back a 4/4 Minister, that's definitely beatable. So now I think I'm fine attacking with everyone and trading Mimic for Minister, since we don't have any goblins left in hand. Opponent takes 6, and yep, I think we should have it next turn, since they can't Fumigate us this turn, and Refurbish is not going to be good enough, and we have more than lethal for next turn. And yeah, that does it. Awesome, managed to beat Blue-White Godfather's Gift in 3 games. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the play, and this hand seems acceptable. Turn on Firebrand, and then hope to draw into some Trashmasters or Siege Gang Commanders, since those go nicely with our Warchiefs. Alright, Volley Veteran is also not bad. A hasty 4/2 can deal a lot of damage out of nowhere. No turn 2 play, sadly. Opponent on Black-White and Knight of Grace, so it looks like a Knight deck. And Knight of Grace does a pretty good job of blocking our Warchief here, but I think we still play Warchief and then say go. And then drawing another Volley Veteran is definitely nice in this type of matchup. And their Sister Benalia. It's gonna be an issue. So we can actually go Warchief into Volley Veteran here, since we get a double discount. And then we'll kill the Knight of Grace. And then I'm fine attacking with everyone except for Firebrand. Opponent trades. We can potentially kill another 2 toughness creature using Firebrand plus Chainwhirler. So if we draw land, we can also play Volley Veteran. As we see, Banalish Marshal. Alright, so we'll have to kill the Marshal first here. Alright, another Volley Veteran, definitely the card we want to see the most in this type of matchup. So let's play Veteran, kill Marshal, play Veteran, kill Knight. And we're attacking for 13 here. Alright, they do have the Fatal Push, so they'll only be taking 9. Histor Benalia doesn't do anything. And a Valiant Knight is not gonna save them here, so we can just Chainwhirler and our opponent scoops it up. Awesome. Got pretty lucky there to draw all those Volley Veterans in game 1. So how do we want to approach this matchup? I think Vanquisher's Banner probably a necessity just to be able to go bigger late in the game when our goblins can no longer attack. Firebrand seems pretty lackluster. And then probably just one more removal in general. Fight with Fire seems okay. And Abrades seem decent. Maybe a Barrage as well. And then cut a few of the lower impact cards. Warchief was great in that game, but I don't expect it to be great most of the time. And then maybe shaving some Wily Goblins. Something like this seems fine. Alright, don't hate keeping this. Lots of mimics if we draw Instigators or Siege Gang Commanders or Golden. Alright, so I fully expect Metallic Mimic to die if we play it here. So do we still play it? I think we do. Alright, our Metallic Mimic survived, that's nice. And there's Thopterest, alright, never mind. I think we just play another Mimic. Could go Wily Goblin into Mimic, but then the Goblin is still only going to be a 1-1, which is not super exciting. And there's a Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, not great on an empty board like this. And we picked up Abrade. It's a bit of insurance against a potential creature. So I think we just play a Trashmaster here, tank a Ajani for 3. Alright, Knight of Grace into Banalish Marshal, and then put counters on both, so now Abrade can no longer kill any one of them, but Siege Gang Commander was a very good draw here. If near Deadlands can still kill Metallic Mimic, but nothing else. Instead another Banalish Marshal, alright, that's starting to become a problem, since our damage-based removal can no longer deal with those. A fight with fire would be nice. And well, speak of the devil. So now we can fight with fire, Banalish Marshal. So let's cast this. Could also play the Wily Goblin. And here I think we want to attack a Ajani with all 3 Goblin tokens. That way for opponent double blocks we can still kill the Banalish Marshal, and if they don't then we get rid of a Ajani. So this seems fine. Opponent does go for the double block, so I think I'm fine sacrificing this Goblin to kill the Banalish Marshal here, as opposed to killing a Ajani. So what we could have considered is playing the Wily Goblin first to have an extra body in play, since we would have had enough mana to still activate. But I think this worked out. Alright, Valiant Knight. Opponent pluses a Ajani. So we can just shoot a Ajani to get rid of him. And Volley Veteran was an excellent draw as well. So what's our play here? Play Volley Veteran to take out our Valiant Knight. Although then a removal spell on one of our goblins would be annoying, since then the Valiant Knight survives, but I think that's still the play here. Could play Wily Goblin first, but then we cannot activate Siege Gang. So had we played Wily Goblin last turn, we could have avoided this scenario. And our opponent just concedes. Awesome. So, yep, kill Valiant Knight, kill Ajani, and our opponent has nothing left. Awesome. So managed to beat Black-White Knights onto the next one. Alright, we're on the draw. And while these two cards do synergize nicely, I don't think we can keep a 5-lander. Alright, this is a bit better. Maybe it's fine to bottom, since we do want to find more goblins in the meantime to go along with the Volley Veteran, since playing it with just 2 goblins in play might not be very effective. And if we're going to draw lands anyway, then might as well not flood out too badly. Alright, blue-black. Some sort of control deck. Goblin Warchief was a good draw, but this is going to be a rough matchup if it's blue-black control. A bunch of spot removal into Scarab God, it's going to be hard to beat. Alright, seems to be Grixis. Champion of Wits, sure. Discarding Siphoner and another champion. Let's play Warchief. And we want to keep enough goblins in play where we can kill a Nicol Bolas potentially next turn, which means we cannot afford to attack here. Although it's going to be tricky what to discard to a potential Nicol Bolas here, since all the cards are useful. I guess we can just discard the Firebrand. Yep. And then keep land to go with Siege Gang. And then we can play Veteran the turn after. Yeah, I'll take it. We drew a land anyway, so had we discarded land and then drawn land, we might have opted for Firebrand into Volley Veteran, smash our opponent for a bunch here. We could still do that, play Volley Veteran here, dealing 3 to Nicol Bolas, then using Firebrand to finish off Nicol Bolas. That's also reasonable. Yeah, I don't hate it. Does mean we have to sacrifice a Firebrand and we don't get the clean finish with Volley Veteran, but that might mean that we can attack with Hasty Siege Gang Commander and friends next turn, plus we get in for a lot more damage this turn. And if they play another Nicol Bolas, I'll happily discard a land. Our opponent attacking with Champion of Wits was maybe not respecting the goblins enough. Alright, Metallic Mimic is a nice one, so opponent might be keeping up Supreme Will, in which case we don't just want to jam Siege Gang Commander. So I'll play a Metallic Mimic, which does still cost 2, even though we have Warchief in play, because it's not a goblin when it's in our hand. And I don't think we want to be attacking yet. And again, keep land in hand in case we need to discard 2 Nicol Bolas. Alright, there's Liliana, get back Nicol Bolas. Instead they go for Champion of Wits. Interesting. Opponent discards 2 lands, so they were probably flooding out, which is why they went with the champion there. Alright, Chainwhirler is actually pretty good here too. So it's probably just better than Siege Gang, which is a strange thing to say. It's gonna kill both champions. And how much damage are we dealing? 12. So opponent's dead if they don't have anything. I don't mind going for it, since if they had Fatal Push they would have cast it beforehand. Awesome. So how do we want to sideboard? I think this is definitely a matchup where we want the Vanquisher's banner. Yeah, Nicol Bolas and Scarab God are going to be tough to beat. I think we just cut a few Firebrands and that's it. Try to be as streamlined as possible. Hope to just dodge a Scarab God essentially, since while we could bring in Magma Spray to try and exile it, it's not going to be easy. Alright, I don't think we can keep a 1-lander here. And this is kind of the opposite problem. I don't think this hand is going to win us the game. So we'll go to 5. Alright, that's probably the best hand we've kept so far. And I'll keep a land on top, even though we might end up flooding out, since we do have the Wily Goblin to provide extra mana as well. Alright, Siege Gang was a good draw. Let's play Wily Goblin. Gets pushed, fair enough. And a Champion of Wits, discarding Doomfall Swamp. I think we play Instigator, and then we can go Siege Gang into Trashmaster. Well, for being a mulligan to 5, at least our hand's doing something. Gifted Aetherborn's definitely an issue, but if we can keep drawing Trashmasters, I guess that's nice. So let's play Siege Gang, hope they don't have Essence Scatter up here. Alright, nice. And say go. Another Champion of Wits. Discarding Scarab God, so they must have another one in hand, I imagine. And another Wily Goblin. Alright, so now we have to make some decisions. I don't hate attacking with all our tokens, and then if they block with Aetherborn we can finish it off with one of our goblins. The other option is playing Trashmaster, but then we're not dealing with the Aetherborn properly. So I think we have to deal with the Aetherborn problem first, before we can consider playing Trashmaster. I think we just let damage happen and then sack a Goblin token after combat. And then we can also play Wily Goblin. Alright, say go. And we're expecting Scarab God to make an appearance here. Yep. Alright, it's gonna be hard to beat. Metallic Mimic. So yeah, now our opponent can start getting back 4/4 Champions of Wits and draw a million cards. If we attack with everyone, they block, and we would have to spend our entire turn killing Scarab God, and they just play it again, and we don't have anything in play to keep pressuring them. So this is just bad news overall. I guess we just play a Trashmaster, say go. And our opponent's still at 20, so there's no way we can hope to burn them out with Siege Gang commanders. Opponent did not activate Scarab God in upkeep, but they can just activate it now. Alright, so what's our plan? I guess we just play Metallic Mimic into Trashmaster and then see where we go from here. Alright, they have an Acid Scatter. Fair enough. But they can still activate Scarab God, so don't think that changes anything. No attack, sadly. Opponent gets to end of turn get back Champion of Wits if they want to, or Aetherborn. And next turn, if our opponent sees the line, they could even on upkeep get back our Wily Goblin, make a treasure, and then activate Scarab God a second time. But they decide to just draw instead. Alright, does Chainwhirler change anything? Not really. Although it's a creature that can start maybe attacking into the opponent's stuff. Well, we could have just conceded when the opponent played Scarab God essentially, but there's always a chance. Alright, I think we've seen enough. So let's go to game 3 here. I don't think we change anything, just have to hope they don't draw Scarab God. Would like to be on the play. And yeah, this hand could definitely do some work. Banner's definitely great. A bit light on lands, but at least we have a lot of action. Alright, let's get in for one. A land next turn would let us play Warchief, which sets up our other goblins nicely. Opponent pushes the Firebrand, end of turn there. They were maybe hoping to catch a Metallic Mimic. And there's the Aetherborn again. Yep, and we're just forced to say go. There's Champion of Wits. Discarding cast down an Acid Scatter, that's not a good sign. And Aetherborn gets in there, we'll take it. And still no third land. That's unfortunate. Do we attack? Don't think we do. There's Nicol Bolas. Makes us discard probably just a banner, sadly. Since at least Siege Gang gets reduced by 1 thanks to our Warchief, the banner does not. Yep, that's sad. Well, our first game was pretty exciting, the second and third not so much. So probably time to block the Champion of Wits. And there's Scarab God. And now we draw the land. Alright, GG's opponent, that's gonna do it for us. So I wanna thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this gameplay. And as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for supporting the channel, and you can do so yourself as well over at patreon.com/LegenVD, where you get cool rewards for supporting the channel, as well as getting us closer to our goals, where with every goal reached, we will release an additional weekly series. So if you want to see more content, Patreon is the place to go.